Hello and welcome to Talking Gaming's match preview of Brighton Hove Albion against West Ham United. Gonzo, kick us off, please. What's your thoughts on Brighton?
Really good club. Like the club a lot, actually. An awful lot going for it. Well, hopefully be taking the trip down there, actually, on Saturday. And I'm not just saying good things because I know I'm taking a trip down there, trying to cover myself. Do you know what I mean? But no, I do like it. I love the way the club's run. I love the fact they put on entertainment before the game. I know a lot of clubs try, but Brighton really do it very, very well. I love the fact they incorporate local companies in what they're trying to do. So the pies are from the local, whatever it is, a West Sussex pie company, whatever the case may be. The beer is a local beer from a local brewers. I love all that stuff. I think it's good. It's in every facet. It's a community club, and I do think it's miraculous. Now that's fine, and it's a compliment. But there's a lot of community clubs who do all that lovely stuff with pies and ales and local businesses, but they're pretty crap on the football pitch. Well, Brighton seem to balance it up really by having a magnificent football infrastructure. And I've got to say, despite them losing their head of recruitment, or whatever you want to call it, and them losing their manager, they've taken it all in their stride, Geo, and actually it doesn't matter. And it just goes to show that the club is run so incredibly well that you can take individuals out of that system, but the system and the club is king. Like I said, gets said a lot. No one person is bigger than the club. Well, actually, I think in some clubs they often are. You see one person leave a club and they can capitulate. Brighton aren't that. Brighton are just a well-oiled machine, a very, very well-run football club.
Yeah, I completely agree. The big test for them, obviously, Newcastle poached someone, and then Chelsea have come in and got Potter. Then they came back and took more people from Brighton as well. And it must have felt like they were getting bombarded at one point. You must have thought, hang on a minute, what's going on? Everybody's jumping ship here. This is a good ship. Why is everybody leaving? We're on to something. Yeah. But there was no sense of panic. There was no sense of, oh, well, that's the end of that. We've had our moment in the Premier League. That's it now. Quite the opposite. They thought, that's all right, then you can have him. We'll go get the next guy. We know who we need. You can have him. We'll go get the next guy. We're Graham Potter. It's like, right, fine, but you can pay what is in his contract. We'll get a few million quid for him. We know exactly who we want to go get, and we're going to go get him. And they've done that. And now Chelsea are linked with him this summer as well. I mean, there must be an element of them thinking, bloody hell.
Oh, you'd hate them. You'd hate Chelsea if you were a Brighton fan.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I seen when Potter went back there not too long after starting the job, and he was getting booed, and there was a lot of pundits surprise. So saying, why are they booing him? He'd done really well, but it wasn't just the fact that he jumped to Chelsea. I think something Brighton fans could generally understand that, but it's the fact they went back and took other people from Brighton as well. I was like, you go, but leave the club alone. Don't try and strip us back to bare bones kind of thing. And I think it's the fact that they kept going back and picking people out of Brighton to take with Potter, and Potter took some of his backroom staff as well. And I think that's what got people's backs up, understandably, because you can leave, fine, you go do what you want to do. You go to Chelsea and upgrade and whatever, go get your Champions League football as a manager, but leave the rest of the club be. But the fact they went back and did it, I think that's what got their fans' backs up. And I completely understand. I completely get why Brighton fans are a bit, hang on a minute, you're taking liberties now here. We gave you the chance in the Premier League and you've done really well for us, but that's it. You've now got your move. Let's be respectful about it. I think
we've seen that. We've seen this, Joe. We've seen this with West Ham, which is actually these pundits haven't got a clue. They're stealing a living, really. They don't understand fans. They don't. Because so many of them are ex-footballers, everything is from the footballer's perspective. Everything is from a manager's perspective. There's all these little old pals acts. So they don't ever want, the pundits can't be seen. They've got to side with Graham Potter. They've got to side with everybody. We've seen it so many times at West Ham. And unfortunately, in the media, there is no real fan representation there. So they don't understand. They can possibly understand, actually. And that's why it's so important you have impartial journalists in a lot of these positions, I feel.
Yeah, the transfer strategy has been impressive for a few years now, but I think this summer was the summer just passing during the season has been a different test for them. Well, let's see how you cope losing key members of your staff. Turns out the answer is perfectly fine, thank you. Or arguably, they've upgraded. They've got paid, was it 10 million the compensation for Potter?
Yes,
so Chelsea paid 10 million for the manager, and they've got a better one. I mean, arguably, that's a really good bit of business with. But they were probably hoping someone would come and take Potter because they thought the guy who got lined up to come in is even better than him. Can someone please get him? And he's gone there, Zerbi. What have you made of him so far?
Well, well, look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I watch Brighton. I just don't. But I just think the fact that he hasn't missed a beat really has been amazing. I think if anything, he's made him a little bit more clinical. I think quite possibly. Whereas, but really just impressed. I'd never even heard of him. I don't know. I haven't got a clue who he is. Hadn't heard anything about him, but he has kept him up there. He could argue he is doing maybe a better job than Potter did there.
I think he is.
So he really has kept him up there, hasn't he? So yeah, I mean, it's miraculous. It's a victory for football. Maybe I'm going a bit too far, but it's validation of their project. I think it's brilliant.
I think Potter did a good job there, but often I would tune into Brighton under Potter, and it was a bit boring. It was almost like possession for possession's sake at times. And did they not draw like 5 games 1-1 in a row or something like that? And they were top of this sort of XG or missed XG table and so on and so forth. But I was never. You're a bigger fan than Potter than I am. I've never been blown away by him. But when Zerbi arrived with a big reputation, there was a lot of hype from European journalists and stuff saying, "Oh, this coach is fantastic. You're really going to enjoy him at Brighton. The Premier League can be a better place for it." I took it with a pinch of salt because I looked at it. I thought, "Do you know this guy?" And I thought, "Well, I've obviously seen Shakhtar play with him because of the Champions League and that." So I thought, I don't really recall anything from that games. But I found myself very intrigued by him since he arrived at the Premier League. I've been reading a lot of articles about him as soon as he arrived, and I've been watching Brighton a lot as well. And I'm just fascinated by him, truth be told. Basically, do you know how West Ham fans are with Will Still at the minute? I was like that. I was like that with Zerbi when he arrived at Brighton. I was like, I need to know more about this guy. And when watching Brighton, I just find his tactics absolutely fascinating. He's like a mini Pep Guardiola. I think I really enjoy watching Brighton play. They have a lot of possession. When he was at Sassuolo, they were top of the league for possession. Obviously, it was Shakhtar he was, but I would argue he's got the best team there.
Sure.
And since he's gone in at Brighton, could be wrong. I think they've got the most possession on average per game since he arrived at Brighton. So he's got more possession than what Pep's got at Man City. And when you watch them, I think it's fantastic. All the little traps they set for the opposition, the way their wingers move, the way their full-backs move, the way that Lewis Dunk's turned into one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League under him. I think Dunk's done more passes than anyone else in the league since Zerbi has rocked up. And I'm in awe watching it. Honestly, I sit there watching it and I actually enjoy looking at the way that Brighton play football with the tactics and the setup and stuff. And how Pep's getting all this sort of plaudits for the inverted fullback. Brighton have been doing it since this guy rocked up. I've seen their fullbacks sitting in midfield and making it, they go 2-4-4 essentially with their centre-backs, and the way they use the caper, I'm going to hate it on Saturday, but I thoroughly enjoy watching Brighton play. And if ever Brighton's on TV and you've not seen much of them, I urge you to go watch them and just watch the way their players move off the ball. Just watch the way Lewis Dunk is on the ball. He just stands there. Go, come on, then. Come close me down. And, sometimes you're better off not doing it because as soon as you do it, everybody else in the team knows exactly what they're doing. They all just move. Bang. Dunk's getting pressed. Now we all move. And then the ball starts going. And they're so patient, so disciplined. They don't attack with loads of pace unless it's counter-attacking or they've got an opportunity to do it and they spring the attack. They're sit there, they're patient, pass. They can't get anywhere. They don't mind going all the way back to the keeper. Right, we'll start again. We'll start the move again. Come on then, come attack us. And as soon as you start attacking them, you're banging trouble. I think he's been brilliant for them. At the minute, Gonzo, they're just outside the top 6. They're in the FA Cup quarter-final. They've got a tie at home to Grimsby. So they're one game from Wembley and it's home against Grimsby. 2 questions. I guess, what do you think of their FA Cup run? And can they go on and win it? And then second of all, do you think they'll get top 6? They're currently 4 points behind Liverpool, but they've got 2 games in hand.
Can they get top 6? Yes, they can get top 6, actually.
Okay, let me rephrase it. Will they get top 6?
No. Their cup run, if they got Grimsby next, they got every chance in the cup, every single chance. If he's taking it seriously, again, I couldn't claim to know what team he picks for the league and if he does different for the cup, don't know. if he takes it seriously, they have every chance. On their day, Brighton can beat anyone. I wish I could say that about West Ham, because I think they will go for it. Never mind Grimsby, if they come up against a bigger team later on, they will go. They will absolutely go for it. And I think they can win the cup. And look, we can't win it. You know what? I hope they do.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Brighton win it. I hope they go for it as well. And I think if they can get a kind draw in the semi-final as well, and obviously if they do get to the final, you'd imagine Man City will be lying in wait for them. But in a one-off game, they can do it. I think Pep always used to fear Graham Potter. Pep always used to really praise Brighton and Graham Potter. Well, actually, I think if you thought that about Potter, I think he might have something to say about it as well, actually. In the summer, another test for Brighton coming up, Casiedo. The geezer literally wrote a goodbye to Brighton fans. But I don't know where you think you're going. Maybe we're not accepting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, then, good for them.
Obviously, the manager being linked with Chelsea, but also Spurs and Antonio Conte heading out of Tottenham. He's apparently near the top of the shortlist. another big summer and more tests coming for Brighton. Do you still have confidence of them being okay, or do you think at some point it's going to be a case of has it got to run out soon, or is their infrastructure and scouting and recruitment that good that it's not that big a deal?
No. Yes, there can come a tipping point, of course, for anyone, and I find it a hard watch. Actually, it's it's a bit like a nature program. Do you know what I mean? When the hyenas catch the gazelle or something. Oh, crikey, come on, mate, get away. So it is hard to watch them watch the vultures circling and plucking them off, because you think, come on, give us a chance. It's all stacked so heavily in the big club's favour. And even now, this thing where you're going to have to be posting a profit, it's all done to facilitate, to make sure that Man United stay up the top and all that, and Juventus remain the biggest team in Italy. And that's the way football's going to hate it, actually. So I really like the story of Brighton on this one. Yes, there would come a tipping point if everyone keeps taking every bit of talent all the time. But I think they just, for Brighton, they just keep making things so prohibitive, because this is the thing. Tottenham come in, so they want they want Caicedo. They think, well, hold on, you took Basuma last time. Do you know what I mean? So okay, but fine. If you're going to keep wasting money, then actually this guy's going to cost you 3 times that. Do you know what I mean? And if Chelsea think, okay, Graham Potter, all right, we'll actually take their next manager instead. Excuse me. You got to start thinking, well, hold on a second. Well, I don't know whether you can prohibitively contractually put it all in there, but again, it's okay, fine. You made a mistake with Potter, then you're gonna really, really pay this time, and I just hope that they can get top money because it's their foresight. They're the people that you talk about their manager, Geo, right? You talk about their manager. I'm jealous. I must say, I'm jealous. We wouldn't have had a clue who this guy is.
No, not a chance. He probably still doesn't. I said that in the video about Sullivan once. Said it. Sullivan never heard of the Zerbi before he arrived at Brighton. Someone commented saying he probably still hasn't.
No. This is it. So they deserve reward for their foresight. This is exactly why. This is exactly why before Moyes got his 4-0 win, why it was still there. Oh, we must have someone with Premier League experience. We don't. We're so far behind teams like this. We always say Brighton, we always say Brentford. We pick these teams. When Thomas Frank goes from Brentford, they will know who they want to get in. I tell you what, we won't have bloody heard of him, right? I mean the people making those decisions at our club, we haven't got a clue, and that's why when these wonderfully innovative clubs like Brighton are looking around, finding this manager who does all fancy things with his fullbacks and does all this wonderful tactical stuff, we're still looking around thinking, tough, isn't it? You know what I mean? Benitez or Tony Pulis. I don't know which one to choose. This is where we're at, but I do think eventually, if you start taking the people that start making the decisions on who hires the talent that hires the talent, then it can start falling down. But so they've got to be so swift.
Maybe that guy's unobtainable, which is Tony Bloom. Maybe he's the one that's
wonderful. I hope so. I really hope so.
I remember reading. I don't know what the guy's title is. He's obviously next in line after Tony Bloom. sporting director or something. Can't remember his name. Forgive me, Brighton fans. I'm going to guess it was Butcher or something like that. And he said Tony Bloom knew exactly who he wanted before Potter left. He said, and basically, as soon as Potter was going, we were on the phone to Zerbi, getting him in. He was our number one choice. He's the only candidate we spoke to. He fits our culture and he fits the technical side of the game, or what we want to do with him. So he fits the playing squad and he fits the culture of the club. Get him in. So if Tony Bloom was the person responsible for identifying the manager, then I would suggest that even if De Zerbi does go this summer, the man who is unobtainable knows exactly who he wants next to come in and take over from him. So fascinating stories. Gonzo, players you admire from Brighton, please.
Not just don't watch him play that much. I'll leave the big one for you. Whenever I've seen Solly March play, looks good. Caicedo, we've already picked out. That Matoma, he looks okay as well. Just bigger than the sum of their parts. No, they had the young striker come in and Scottish name if I remember rightly. He's
Ferguson.
That's it. Yeah,
He's Irish, I think.
Eh? I think it's an Irish. Well, you
I'm pretty sure.
I'm not going to argue with you what's a Scottish name because I'd lose. But yeah,
I think they're basically trying to get him to play now for Ireland.
So I see. Sorry, I meant his name. Ferguson is a Scottish. That's what I meant. I said it's got a Scottish sounding name. Yeah, so that they did well there with him coming through. Funny enough, I watched their under-21s the other day against us. It was 3-2 and so I wasn't overly impressed with under-21s, actually. Has to be said. So they've done well to find some talent within that group there.
They loan them out, though, Brighton.
Do they?
Yeah, they'll buy players in for 3, 4, 5 million and loan them out to the Belgian league usually for a couple of seasons. So then they're ready for the first.
Smart. It's what Chelsea does. Say smart. I've got to say yes. So I'll leave your favourite players to you. Sorry, carry on.
If Caicedo goes this summer, the replacement's probably already at Brighton. Just me and you've never heard of him. Absolutely. Brighton fans will, but me and you don't. He's probably playing in Belgium right now.
Yeah, good for honestly, good for him. I actually hope when they play Chelsea, I really hope that Brighton beat Chelsea because I just think it's like poetic justice. I think it's romantic, actually.
Dunk, I think, has been superb. I think he's absolutely fantastic, pivotal to the way that they play at the minute. Estupinian on the left back as well. Mitoma fascinated me. Never heard of him. October, I saw him come off the bench. I thought, who's this guy? He looks good. And since then, he's continued to impress. Scored midweek. Well, he didn't score against Stoke, sorry, but he got the assist. Just the way that he works as a winger. I read somewhere, I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it's right, though. He didn't make up his professional debut till he's 22 years old. So he's only 25 now, so he's risen very quickly through.
Hope for us yet, Geo. Hope for us yet.
There is a little bit in there. And then McAllister is one of my favourite players in the Premier League. I think he's sensational. I think he's got everything. He's got vision. He's got technique. He works hard. He's strong in the tackle. Can shoot from distance. Can take set paces, everything that you want in a midfielder, he's got it. He's just a hybrid of a defensive midfielder, an attacking midfielder. Oh, I think he's wonderful. I think he's so underrated. Seen a quote from him during the week saying he wants to remain in the Premier League. So there you go, Man City and whoever. And all these, funny enough, this includes West Ham here because all these midfielders are expected to be on the move this summer. You know, Bellingham's getting a lot of it and Declan Rice is getting a lot of the headlines. But actually, I think whoever gets McAllister, if somebody does, I think they're getting a really good player. Be interesting to see the price point he goes for as well. I think it's a very difficult player to put a valuation on. Obviously, his hype grew because of Argentina during the World Cup and Messi got man of the match and said, no, I'm not man of the match. McAllister is. And he gave it to McAllister in front of the cameras, which, you know, was nice for him, but a bit embarrassing for whoever selected the man of the match, Budweiser or whoever it was. Yeah. But good for him. Good for Brighton as well. But right, let's talk West Ham. The team news. There's no Lucas Fabianski for the Hammers as he's got a fractured cheekbone and looks set to miss a few weeks out. So far as possible. Obviously missed the game against Manchester United, but listen to what David Moyes said after the Nottingham Forest game, which suggests that he's had an injury for a few weeks, but it wasn't anything too serious, so he may return. But one player who certainly is Danny Ings. He was cut tied for the game at Old Trafford, so he's back for West Ham this weekend. And we'll have to wait and see in regards to Kurt Zouma and Maxwell Cornet. Both have been back in training since last Monday, so 2 weeks now they'll both be back in full training, but yet to feature for the team. So perhaps there could be a space on the bench for one or possibly both of them. Gonzo, let's see the team that you want to see. I don't think there's going to be too many differences between me, you, and David Moyes this weekend, but obviously Areola in goal through default. Your defence?
Well, I'll go. It changes if Soufal is fit or not. I think he possibly isn't. So if he is, I'm going to just work my team and work on the assumption Soufal isn't fit. So I'll go.
What happens if he was? Would you change anything?
Yeah, I probably would. I probably would put Johnson left. And I know we've just sat here and done our Patreon player ratings and given well, I'm going to tell you what we've given Emerson. You have to silence Patreon. But
we want to give him an 8.
Oh, right, there you go.
10 out of 10, he said.
Yeah, there you go. Won't tell you what I gave somebody else, though. Anyway, there you go, little teaser. Lure him in. Anyway. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, left back. So, yeah, I think if they're going to be on us, they're going to be swarming us like bees. Well, seagulls, probably more like it. Then
I've been swarmed by seagulls in Aberdeen. Take chips out in Aberdeen. You're chancing it there with those seagulls.
We were in. Sorry, I digress. We were in Swanage once. And my daughter, and I said to my daughter, "Don't feed the seagull." She gave a seagull a chip. Honestly, it was like that seagull said, "Oi, we got one over here. Someone's giving us chips." Bam! Honestly, and all mayhem happens, and basically, I ended up having to wade through the sea. Basically, I got my wallet wet, which is the first time it had been out for quite some time.
Oh, and I ended up off seagulls.
I actually ended up in the. It all got knocked out. Everything got knocked over into the sea, and I actually ended up in the gents drying out my wallet on the hand dryer. There we go. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that, but that was a different seaside resort. Not Brighton. Bringing it back onto Brighton and left backs. So, yeah, I think I'd probably go for Ben Johnson's defensive stability for this one in the 4-4-2. Soufal right, and obviously Ogbonna and a Gerd. Although if there was any inkling at all that Zuma might be fit, I probably might shoehorn him in.
Yeah, I can understand that. I've got concerns over the centre-backs. I think the Gerd-Ogbonna partnership, I am flip-flopping between them. At some games, I think they're fantastic together. In other games, I think it doesn't look comfortable. And I'm worried playing Brighton because they like that ball in between the centre-back and the full-back. They like the winger running in there. And I'm just a little bit concerned that our centre-back setup as it is open to being exploited. So if Zuma was fit enough, I'd put him in our side a Gerd. Not that Ogbonna's done anything wrong. It's just that Brighton can sometimes play with pace, and I think you're just asking for trouble there. But if they play Ferguson, he's a bit more of a physical striker. Ogbonna would be fine for that one. So even though I've got concerns, I don't know if I'm concerned enough to play Tilo Kehrer. So I think Emerson has to play left back for me, regardless of Soufal's fitness. I think he was brilliant against Man United. I think he's deserved the shot there. The way that Brighton play, because of Zerbi will always have the wrong-footed player on the wing, so you have a left footer on the right and a right footer on the left. It's just how he's always done it. He did that at Shakhtar with Tete on the right and Solomon on the left. He likes those types of wingers. I think that will benefit Emerson, actually. Probably have Solly March there to look after. I think he'll be fine. So for me, Emerson, Gerd-Ogbonna, but also Zuma if he's fit, and then probably Ben Johnson, I think, over Soufal. I think Johnson's earned a crack at it after his performance against Man United. And the midfield sort of picks itself, Gonzo. Souček, Rice and Paqueta.
Yeah, that's looking decent. Actually gives me some hope for the game, really. I never think that we can do anything against Brighton. They got our number. But I'd like that midfield against their midfield, actually.
And the front three pick itself for you as well?
It does. It absolutely does. Jared Bowen, Sai Benrahma, and Annie Dings up front, certainly.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that front three, actually. I'm looking forward to Ings playing. I'm glad, because in the last two games, the defeat to Man United and the victory against Nottingham Forest, both games you saw what difference a striker makes. Well, you do. We won one, we've lost one, but the striker has had a massive impact on the outcome on both of those. And I'm looking forward to it. Like you said, midfield three been functioning really well. I think there's a really nice balance between Souček, Paqueta and Rice at the minute. The understanding's really, really good. The way that Rice is just sitting, Souček and Paqueta going forward. We saw their pressing game against Manchester United. Souček getting up to support Antonio to make it a 2. It'd be interesting to see how Moyes approaches the pressing game, because I think if you get it right, you can exploit Brighton's weaknesses, because for all the plaudits I've just given, there's got to be weaknesses somewhere. For all their strengths, there's somewhere they're sacrificing in order to have all that. And often there's space on the wings against Brighton. If you can break their press, or if you can get the ball off them quickly, their fullbacks play so high that there's often room out wide. So this is where Bowen and Benrahma, they're going to be key in this game, but also getting the ball to them really quickly is going to be pivotal. But how we use Souček to press Lewis Dunk or not is going to be important. If we get it wrong, you could find yourself getting ripped apart pretty quickly by this Brighton team. But if you get it right, you can find yourself springing a few opportunities using Brighton's tactics against him. So it'll be interesting. I'm really intrigued by this one, but a very similar 11. I think David Moyes will be playing what we're hoping to see as well. Are you confident for this one?
No, but I always expect Brighton to beat us. Let's just say that. I would imagine they're probably favourites with the bookies.
Yeah, they have to. Of course they are. They've got to be. They're at home. They're 8th in the league, flying.
Absolutely. So, but for once, I think there is possibly opportunity there. I find it hard to justify it. I mean, you're right. There must be weakness in the team. If there weren't any weakness in the team, they'd be
top.
No, they'd be 9 points ahead of Arsenal, wouldn't they? So, so there must be there. I think our team. I think we've got some mojo back. Actually, I think we got even the loss against Manchester United. I don't think that would have been a totally miserable coach, boat, plane, however they got home. Right, when everyone was sat on the whatever it was. I don't think that would have been a miserable place to be necessarily. I think we battered Nottingham Forest. I thought for 65 minutes we were better than Manchester United reserves. And I think there was some. Well, we just done our player ratings. There were 8s and 9s out of 10 in the West Ham team.
There was also a 3 and a 4 and a 5.
There was a 3 and a 4 and a 5, but enough talk about those players. I do think that they were individual errors, and I think they themselves, the team will know that Antonio's not going to be starting up front this game. If a chance falls, going to fall to Danny Ings. It's going to give the team some confidence. They're going to know that Agurd's not going to make 3 mistakes in a game like that again. And I do think, and I think it is a functioning midfield with 3 different component parts in it, which I do think is going to work well. And the defence, despite the 3 goals, the defence by and large is playing well. So I think we have a chance. Confident? No. I think Brighton probably still will beat us, but I think we can beat them.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of optimism about me as well. Actually, I think it all comes down to attitude. We know Brighton are going to try and win the game. That's sorted. There's no second guessing Brighton here. You know their tactics. You can take a bloody good stab at what their starting 11 is going to be. You know they're going to try and win the game. There's no surprises there for Moyes from Brighton. It's not happening. In terms of preparation for this game, there's no excuses as far as I'm concerned. Just like there's none for Brighton. Whoever's doing that job for Brighton will be saying, "No,
he's probably been poached by Chelsea."
Yeah, here's my resignation. I'm off, mate. I'm waiting to work for Potter and get that massive payoff in a couple of weeks. But he'll be saying this is their midfield 3, this is their attacking 3. I'm unsure what they're going to do at fullbacks, but here's my educated guess kind of thing. Here's their weaknesses. And there is weaknesses there to exploit. Like Brighton, not great at, I say you get room out wide. They tend to concede goals. Certainly in the past, these past teams at Shakhtar and Sassuolo, the Zerbis would concede a lot of headed goals because of the early crosses and whatever. So that's something that we need to be on the ball with a little bit. And I think Danny Ings is good in the air. He's not a tall striker, but I do think he's really good at his heading, despite that chance against Nottingham Forest last weekend. But that's why I was surprised at it, because he's usually hoovers them up. But I think there's definitely a little bit of optimism for me, Gonzo. I'm pleased with what I saw against Forest. I'm pleased with what I saw against Man United. And I know a lot of people say it was only Forest. We know that. We know they have the worst away record in the league. But the point is, we stuck 4 past them. When did we? It's been a crap old season. So to stick 4 past someone was pleasing. To keep on going for it. Man United, yes, it was Man United reserves. But do you know the same people that say that? A lot of them are also saying, but if we had Ings up front, we might have won that game. Well, hang on, you can't have it both ways. Man United reserve, but that's also our reserve striker up front as well. So we can win just as easily as we can lose, unfortunately. But it all comes down to intent from David Moyes, I think, because I'm confident that this will be the lineup. That front six will be the front six, but how we play, because the previous game against Tottenham, it was the same players on the pitch, but we played completely different, and that is my worry. My concern is that we will fear Brighton too much, and it's going to be our own undoing, and that we will struggle because of that. So while the previous couple of games have given me a lift, it's given you a lift, I'm not sure it's given the manager confidence. Obviously, during the week, I thought, oh, great, Everton have just been smashed. Wolves have been beat, happy days. And I thought, oh, I wonder if our manager's going to think, oh, well, drop Brighton's good now because of those results.
Yeah.
That concerns me. Any final words from yourself, please, Gonzo, as well as your all-important score prediction?
Yeah, I just wonder if maybe, Moyes' tactics, he doesn't have to massively change his tactics for this one, because actually it might do well against Brighton. So it is on intent. So I think what's going to be key is if we counter-attack quickly and efficiently, and we're going to have to do is read those two things I'm feeling here. Read those balls from Paqueta, the early ones, because that's going to be really pivotal for us counter-attacking quickly. And the other thing I think is Ben Rama, as in the last two games, has shown himself to be direct rather than a couple of step overs. Then he stops and he starts again. He's quite stuttery in the way he attacks. I've seen the last couple of games, he's just gone for it. He's driving into the box. If he continues to do that, then I think that will really help our counter-attacking as well. And so I think we got a chance. I really, really do think we got a chance. It's quite funny, actually. It's almost like I don't even want to do the safe one and say the 1-1, because I do feel this game, whoever wins this game wins it by a couple of goals, actually. I think I can either go sort of drastically right. I was going to say can either go drastically right for Brighton or drastically wrong for West Ham, but they're both the same thing. I can see it. I can sort of see it there. I can see Brighton beating us 2-0, but I can also see us beating them 2-0, actually. And I'm actually going to go for that. I think I'm going to put my little pecker up, so to speak. not on video, of course. Wouldn't do that to you. Not nice. Lose subscribers that way. But I think I'm going to say Brighton 0, West Ham 2.
Oh, I love that. Well, I hope you're bloody right. I'll tell you that for free. I think. Well, do you know what, Gonzo? I'm actually really looking forward to the game. I think the last couple of games, and people say, oh, it's fickle. Well, yeah, I'm a football fan. It is short term. Football is very short term. Managers, you lose fire, you're in trouble regardless of who you are. That's just how football is these days. Doesn't mean you have to agree with it. You have to like it. It's just how it is. And I'm looking forward to this game, actually. I think I fear Brighton. I fear Brighton a lot. But at the same time, we've got a lot of players in form. It's not just that our overall team performance seems to be a lot better in the last couple of games. The work rate's really good. The formation's really good. But there's a lot of players playing well. I think Paqueta was marvellous against Man United. I thought he was really good against Forest. Souček's in good form. Rice is in good form. Bowen didn't do great when he came off the bench, but I'll tell you what, against Nottingham Forest, he was really good. Danny Ings has got a couple of goals now. Ben Rama, that goal against Brighton, it was quite quiet against Nottingham Forest, got 2 assists. A lot of our players are in form at the minute, and I'm really looking forward to this. And if we can have Cornet on the bench as well, just as that option to bring on, I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm really looking forward to this game. I'm gonna go for the safe one. I'm gonna go Brighton 1, West Ham 1, not because it's safe. That's just my score prediction. That's just how I'm feeling. But I tell you what, I do think we could do with getting 4 points from Brighton, and our next game is at home to Aston Villa. It's 2 tough games on paper, actually, and you could go unbeaten and only get 2 points out of them, and I'm not sure that's enough. I'd much prefer to lose 1, win 1, and get the extra point, but. Yeah, tough couple of games. If we can come out of these 2 games with 4 points, I'll be feeling very comfortable that we will not get relegated this season. It's 2 big tests for West Ham and David Moyes. Also got the European game in the middle as well, but in terms of domestic campaign, interesting. Shall we leave it there, my friend?
Yes, indeed, mate.
If you've enjoyed this preview, please do drop a like on it by clicking the thumbs up button. It really helps out the channel. So if someone searches Brighton, West Ham, hits return on the YouTube search bar, this video will be quite high up. Thanks to you guys clicking the thumbs up. Subscribe to Hammer's Chat. Myself and Gonzo. Catch you in a bit.